104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. We're joined by the Director of Scouting for Optimum Scouting and the lead NFL draft content provider for Sporting News. That's a hell of a title, Eric Galko.
What's going on, man? How are we doing today?
We're great, man. We're talking draft. Can't get any better than that. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Do you believe the Bills will have strong interest in Mitchell Trubisky? And if you do, please explain why.
Yeah, I'm glad. I think it's kind of become more of a storyline. But I reported back in February that if I had to pick one team that would make a trade up for a quarterback in this class, it'd be the Bills and Mitch Trubisky. And I was told early on in the process, really before the season even ended, that Mitch Trubisky was considering declaring for the draft. This is kind of when his draft value had started to reach its peak towards the end of the year. And he reached out and spoke with people of the Bills organization to help make that decision for him. So that's where the interest, I think, started. And then he talked with the Bills. The Bills obviously gave him advice, which he took to declare for the draft, kind of basically inferring that the Bills encouraged him to, in some ways, at least declare for the draft. But since then, it's been a strong connection. And if any team is going to move up in this class the way the Rams, the Eagles did this year ago, I think the Bills have done their whole offseason, adding more pieces to their defense, hiring a defensive coach, and winding out of their offense in this draft class. I think Mr. Trubisky fits a lot of the boxes they want to check in their offense. The fact that they restructured Tyrod Taylor's deal hints they want to add a quarterback in the future, and Cardell Jones likely not that guy. I think with a lot of turnover, with Doug Whaley likely coming at maybe a reduced role or maybe even lost his job, the Buffalo Bills GM, Terry Pagula being into the process, it's very similar to how the Eagles had transitional turnover a year ago. So all signs point to Trubisky, and I've been told on good authority that they have him as a top-rated quarterback in the draft and really don't want to leave this draft without coming away with him.
How high are we talking about for the Bills here? All the way to the number one spot and the 2-3?
Yeah, I think if the Browns want to take Mr. Trubisky, they will take him at first overall. So I think once they don't take Mr. Trubisky first overall, the Browns or the Bills can kind of have a sigh of relief that the Browns aren't expecting to get Mr. Trubisky in this draft class. I think that's first and foremost. The Browns will either take Mr. Trubisky at 1 or don't feel they're going to get him at 12 and don't need him. So that's one team off the checklist. But really, it starts at 2 or 3. The 49ers like Trubisky, though they'll take a quarterback in this draft class. The Jaguars at 4 are a real wild card because teams around the league I talked to have always on the Jaguars to be kind of an unknown team, and the Jaguars have shown interest in a lot of quarterbacks. And the Jets at 6 have kind of made their interest known in a lot of these quarterbacks. So I think if the Bills want to be safe, I think at least getting up to the 5th overall pick is desired. He may be gone by then, but I say the Titans at number 5, the Titans last year had a very reasonable trade-down offer and followed through with it with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Titans are not going to ask for a king's ransom for the Bills to move up ahead of the Jets and secure their guy. So I think if Trubisky has to go in the first 2 or 3 picks, I think he'll be the Buffalo Bills pick at the 5th overall spot, or they can roll the dice and hope no one jumps ahead of them at the 10th spot.
Eric Galko with us right now from Optimum Scouting as well as the Sporting News. So, Eric, let me ask this. So there's a lot of ifs. They want Mitchell Trubisky. If he's not there, if they're not able to get up in a position to take him, do they still go quarterback?
I don't think so. And I think they want Trubisky, and again, because their owner has been involved in this process and went to North Carolina to visit him, I don't think they want to leave this draft without him. But God forbid they do, and they'll continue to add to their offense. They'll kind of delay adding a quarterback in this draft class for another year and add to their offense for the 2018 class to find a quarterback. But so they have Tyrod as the quarterback. He's been more than capable, I think, among NFL quarterbacks, at least the midline level, and he had more receivers around him. I think if they don't pick Mr. Trubisky, they will hope and ideally get Mike Williams of Clemson to be their receiver. I've been told they like him a lot. He's probably one of, if not the top receiver on their draft board, one of the only guys they'll feel in a position worth a top 10 grade. So I think if they don't go quarterback in Mr. Trubisky, Mike Williams of Clemson is my expectation, along with adding more to their defense, especially a pass rusher.
Well, let's transition from one New York team to another, and let's go to the New York Giants. What do the Giants need, and who do you see as the most likely pick for them in their spot?
I think adding their defense is important, and they want to add more defensive line help, but really round one is not going to be the spot to find a defensive tackle to help what they need. I think linebacker is where they'll go, and they've shown interest in a lot of the linebackers. There's a real chance that both Reuben Foster of Alabama, who's going to fall a little bit because of rotator cuff surgery and some character issues, and then Hassan Reddick of Temple, who has risen during this process. Both those guys could be available in the Giants pick at 23. I think it'd be a slam dunk. The Giants have long put off adding a linebacker to their defense, but the defensive backfield feels like it's in a great spot. The defensive spot they feel comfortable with, defensive tackle they can address later on in the draft, and adding linebackers to really solidify that defense. And really, in the past couple of years, they've added a lot to their offensive line. They added Brandon Marshall this offseason at receiver, and they trust the running back core enough to not reach one in round one. So I think the Giants, would love to get a linebacker and kind of solidify a big part of that defense.
Eric Galko with us right now. We're talking draft. You know, that makes me happy. All right, so, Eric, we're your home for the New York Jets. They're sitting there at the 6th pick. Who do you think they're going to take, and do you think it'll make a difference?
Yeah, that second part I can't speak to, but I will say that they've done a great job, I believe, in the smokescreen season and showing interest in quarterbacks. Since 1980, only one franchise has taken a quarterback in the top 4 rounds 3 straight years, and that was the Miami Dolphins, with one of those quarterbacks being Pat White. Long story short, the Jets would be bucking a lot of history by taking 3 straight quarterbacks in the top 4 rounds like they have with Bryce Petty and Christian Hackenberg. The Jets, I don't believe, will take a quarterback in the first 4 rounds or at all in this draft class, but they have a lot of options. And the benefits of having a lot of needs on both sides of the ball is that a lot of players are going to be in play. I think Mike Williams of Clemson is maybe a dark horse. Again, he's the only receiver I see going in the top 10 picks, but after Aaron Decker, they really have no capable receivers they can trust out there. I think receivers quietly their biggest need, but they want to add a pass rusher. I think Charles Harris, Missouri, could be in play, and they want to add defensive back help. I think finding Marshawn Lattimore, who, for my money, is the best cornerback in this class, and actually has shades of prime Dale Rivas. I think Charles Harris, Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Williams, the 3 guys I expect. But right now, the Jets are keeping things very quiet. They want to get the best player available. Who that may be on their board, I'm still unsure. And that being said, the Bills are going to be fine this year. The Dolphins are only getting better. The Patriots are the Patriots. I think no matter what, it's going to be tough for the Jets to not finish 4th place in the division this year.
All right, Eric. So you're the director of scouting for Optimum Scouting. You're the lead draft content provider for Sporting News. Is there a pick that you see that nobody else has seen? Is there a shock of the first round that you're predicting?
As far as the shock, I'm not sure quite yet what so justifies the shock, but I will say Charles Harris, Missouri is a name to know. I've been talking a lot about him on social media and a lot of articles, but talking with teams, multiple teams have top 10 grades on Charles Harris. He's the pass rusher to know after Myles Garrett will be the first overall pick, and Solomon Thomas will be one of the top 4 or 5 picks. He's a guy a lot of teams like. And also Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, I believe, will be a Philadelphia Eagle and be the new face of that offense. Those are 2 picks to watch out for being in the top half of round 1.
Eric Galko, thanks for making time and talking NFL draft with us, brother.
Thanks, guys.